I apologize for not posting for a little bit over a month, but I took some time to travel with my family back to where I grew up, and on the plane ride back, I saw something pretty interesting out of the window, and I'll show you guys and speculate on what it is. Go ahead, roll the intro. So, if any of you are content creators of any sort, you might understand the antsiness that I felt when I didn't have a video up for over 30 days. And I watched my viewer rates tank and all this other stuff kind of go down a bit. And I realized I really do need to make a video. So, forgive me, but this one's going to be a little more a cappella than normal. No scripting, just me talking into my mic. As you probably noticed too, it's a different mic this time. I'm using my headset. I just couldn't be bothered to find my other mic when we're mid moving. So apologies all around for all that stuff, but we're going to get right into this. So here's my flight path. I flew from Sacramento International Airport to Dallas Fort Worth. Quick side note here, I absolutely hate Dallas Fort Worth's airport. I've got a couple stories about that. It's just ridiculous. I flew in February of this year, 2023 that is, and while I was there, I missed my flight, my connection flight from where I was flying from to there by 5 minutes. It was 5 minutes. The flight was just getting done boarding at the time. They hadn't closed the doors. The flight's still there and everything. I ran up with another gentleman, having only 15 minutes to get from one side of that airport to the other. And if you've been to that airport, you know it's horrendous and it sucks to even move through the airport. It's so packed. It's also very large. And American Airlines told me no. So I had to wait 6 hours in the airport. Now, I got to get Whataburger because that was kind of nice, but still, 6 hours to get the next flight out. And it was just, it was appalling. And yeah, it was pretty bad. And in those 6 hours, they changed the actual gate that my flight was supposed to go to 7 or 8 times, I want to say. Not an exaggeration. It was ridiculous. And on our flight there and back, we had issues as well. But you know what? We made it work. So going back to what the video is truly about, side rant over, this is the flight path of roughly where the plane would be. It's what Google Maps had said. I wasn't able to get more accurate flight data, looking pretty briefly. Like I said, I want to get a video out. So we can see from here that it starts off in Sacramento, flies over a bit of Nevada, just a little corner of Utah, kind of, sort of, and then on down into New Mexico, and then over into Texas. So we're seeing quite a few states. Now, judging by the flight time of where I was at when I saw this anomaly and judging by what the landscape was like, and I'll show you guys a little more clear image here in a second of the landscape off Google Maps, I kind of think that I was over central Nevada at that point, or at least the most central part of the state that I was going to fly over according to this map. Like I said, it's Google Maps. Who knows if this is accurate or not? I don't really have the ability to do all the crazy research that other people do, and I don't even know what websites they get on to see flight tracking data and stuff like that. And even then, I don't even know if there's past flights you can look at because you never know. My flight might have taken a deviation to do something that other flights or current flights don't do, or future flights don't do, or won't do. Anyways, so that's my rough estimate. Was I was over Central Nevada at the point where I took this video and these pictures that you're about to see. And so let me just go ahead and start off by showing a picture. And in this picture, hold on a second, let me pull it up. So this first image I'm going to show you is what I viewed outside the window of the airplane. Now I'm looking south at this point, or as far south as I could be looking. I'm on the southern side of the plane looking out the window. And this is what I saw. Normally, having experience flying, and if you guys have ever flown, you guys will know that every now and again something on the ground will catch your eye, especially at night. Lights seem to be focused a certain direction sometimes, and you'll just catch them for the briefest glimpse, focused directly at the aircraft for whatever reason. It's not intentional most of the time. And then sometimes you'll fly past smaller airports and they'll have the roving light, the one that spins like a lighthouse. It's got a blue side and a white side. Like I said, those are marker lights. I'm not an aviation specialist, so other people could tell you more about what those are for. But like I said, they'll catch your eye. And during the daytime, from what I've experienced, is that when you see something this bright, and we're talking about these three dots of light in the middle of this photo, just underneath the wing, the very tip of the wing there. It's pretty obvious even in this photo. I've got some more close-ups coming up soon. That caught my eye. And like I said, when you normally see something of this nature during the daytime, it's a large structure of some sort, or just like say the side of a building. These steel buildings sometimes they're reflective, and it's just catching the sunlight just perfect to where it reflects directly in the direction that you are at in the aircraft at the time. And so I'm expecting it to go away after a couple of moments, once the aircraft moves forward enough to not be in the direct reflection of that light. And it didn't. And it wasn't as if all three were facing different angles. They were all facing the same angle, right? So they're all reflecting back at me at this moment. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, that's interesting, but not really that interesting because I've seen it before. But as we continued to move, I was able to observe this light reflection, possibly, or these lights focused at the aircraft for an extended period of time. We're talking about 20 to 30 minutes until I could no longer, see it out of my window because, if you guys have been on an airline in the last 50 years probably, you know how small these seats have gotten, so they're very restrictive. Anyways, that was what caught my attention. So I decided to take a photo. I took this one initially just to give you guys a perspective of what I saw. And then the next photo here is what I did when I zoomed in. Let me show you this. Now this image is what I took when I had a little bit of zoom, as you can see on my phone. Now this is an iPhone 13 Pro, a little bit outdated, but the cameras are still amazing on this phone. So this is probably going to be the clearest photo. Actually, this is the clearest photo that you're going to get with minimal zoom. I would say about. I can look at the metadata for the actual photo and get you that, but um, it's somewhere in the medium. It's using the best lens and stuff like that. So if you guys want to pause the video and zoom and enhance away, hopefully YouTube doesn't like really crunch this down really finitely small, so you guys get some really crappy images back. But anyway, so this is what I've been seeing for at this point probably about 5 minutes, I'd say, out the window as we're flying past. Now I've gone on Google Maps, like I said, just a free application available to anybody, and I've searched around the general flight path, and of course I deviated from the flight path a good probably 75 to 120 miles. It's kind of hard to get a gauge on things. Both sides of the flight path, just in case my plane had a deviation or something like that, and of course the entirety of the flight path until the sort of ground structure, those mountain ranges there you can see and stuff like that, has changed enough to where I'm like, okay, it's definitely not this area, because in California, behind us at this point, the direction I'm traveling, it was heavily wooded and we had the Rocky Mountains, and in front of us the woods start to come back, so you can start to see a lot more tree cover and everything becomes a little bit more green. Now, of course, this is November, late November, so green doesn't really mean woods all the time, but you could tell that there was trees covering those mountains. And here, it looks like it's a lot more a desert region, especially since it's on the other side of the Rocky Mountains from the Pacific Ocean, meaning that it is going to be a high desert climate, meaning that most likely we have major sort of brush covered hillsides instead of ones with trees. I digress. This is what I was seeing, and I looked on both sides, and I've tried to look for this anomaly up here to the left of these lights, as I call them. It looks like it's a small, I'd call it like a dry lake bed or a sand flat. It's a very obvious discoloration from the surrounding area. It also has roads that seem to be cutting directly through it, or one road that connects the two together, so to speak, going either towards the lights or towards something else. And so there's a very obvious pattern there that I had to go off of. And I looked all over the place. And the one interesting thing is if you look at the geographic location that I was searching, that I thought this area would be in, this top one, as you're looking at this photo, the top light patch there curves to the left. Now, most geographical features in the area that I was looking all seem to curve to the right, and it's just the topographical area causes those lake beds or whatever they may be, sand dunes possibly, to curve to the right in that general area. Now, the mountain ranges, of course, are going north to south, almost exactly north to south in this area. They might have a slight eastern skew towards the bottom half of them. But I looked for that geographical feature and I really couldn't find it, thinking that that was going to be the biggest indicator of where these were. And then also I looked for the geographical feature that's just next to the lights, right in between that sand flat and these lights, so to speak. And I don't know what that exactly is. It looks like a crop to me, but in this area, and if you go and look, most crop formations in this area are circles. The reason why they're circles is because that's a very effective way of irrigating crops in a large area. I have a background in agricultural, aspects and stuff like that, so I understand this a little bit. So the circle crop isn't for any other reason other than it's an easy way to irrigate. Farmers have these large central wells in the ground or central locations where they pump water to, and then there's these massive, long, I would call them bars or tubes of some sort, and they go out and are carried by these large tractor tires. It's a whole formation thing, and they just spin around in a circle. They slowly rove around in a circle, and they hover above the crops, so they damage hardly any of them. It's just the tire tracks that really need to be clear of crops, so the farmers can get the most bang for their buck, and they don't have to put in actual irrigation. It's a very effective way of irrigating when you don't have any real other economic ways of irrigating. Say flood irrigation is not a thing, or putting in permanent sprinklers isn't a thing, or something like that. So having these sort of dark formations in a weird geometric shape is odd for the area. So I figured that would catch my eye as well. Could not find it, and I did look for about 3.5 hours last night. Didn't see anything to do with it. Let's go to the next picture really quick. Let me show you a little bit more of a zoomed in photo of it. But like I said, it's going to get a little blurry, right? I think the camera's using a different lens at this point. All right, so now we've gotten way too zoomed in. It's gotten very blurry, and honestly, it just looks like it's being just blown out of proportions. It almost looks like it's focusing on the heat from the exhaust of the plane more than anything here. So we're not really getting too much more information off this. You can still see the geographical anomalies that I was talking about before, and then you can see the lights a little bit more clearly. The reason why I really specifically want to show this photo is because we can clearly see that on the far right there are two very bright lights, and then in the middle there's one very bright one and seems to be a dim one. Now, looking at it with the naked eye and in the video, it looked like the middle one was more of just a singular light. That might just be the way the camera was perceiving it at the time. And then the one farthest to the left is the dimmest and also a single light. So that still leads and points to the fact that these might just be reflections. Maybe it was a circular structure that was just reflecting the sun's light to, my direction in the plane, and somehow, some way, that circular structure was able to follow us, or structures was able to follow us with a reflection of the sun's energy coming directly at us. It could have been anything. Now, in my mind, of course, I love the alien talk and I love all this Area 51 stuff and everything, Groom Lake and stuff like that. And of course, it's in the same state. I wouldn't be able to tell you where this is at because I haven't been able to find it yet. But of course, I enjoy it. So the first thing my mind came to was, oh, it's a visual deterrent. It's got to be a visual deterrent for any planes happening to fly by. There's these massively bright lights, so you look down and all you see is the light, and you can't see what the light is emanating from or anything in the general direction of the light. Now, take with it what you will, but of course, that's where my mind went. I'm just looking for answers, and the internet's one of the best ways to find people that work as a group together to get answers for certain things. Now, maybe you've taken this exact flight before. Please comment down below and tell me exactly if you've seen this or if you already have an answer, because I'm ready for it to be a mundane, sort of low effort answer like, okay, yeah, man, listen, these are silos. They've been sitting out there for years. People have talked about this before. I did some research to see if I could find anything. I haven't found anything myself, but that's not to say it's not out there. So, yeah, this is what I saw, and I've tried looking for it, and I'd really like some help. If anybody else can get on Google Maps, if you have access to Google Earth or any other, imaging software from satellite imagery, show me, link me to stuff. I'd love to talk about it. It's absolutely insane. I'm gonna go ahead and finish off this pretty long-winded video, especially for me, with this video that I took from the plane. Now, ignore any sounds. I'm with my son and my daughter and my wife's there. I think we had a short conversation during the video, but that'll give you my perspective, and I'll leave you with that. Also, thank you guys for sticking around and staying subscribed while I've had a little bit of a lapse, and I really do appreciate every single view that I get. Thank you guys so much. Do not forget to comment down below if you have any input on this information or any information on this. And I love you all. Thank you so much. Bogart out.